Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Today I'm chatting to Tony Twitchett. When I went to Taxi Kitchen to speak to Tony, there was a lot going on in Federation Square. There were people ziplining across the Yarra, Harry Potter fans dressed as wizards, primed for the 20th anniversary free outdoor screening of Harry Potter the Philosopher's Stone, children running towards a 16-metre tall Christmas tree in Christmas Square, and the annual firies Christmas drinks in the Transit Hotel downstairs from Taxi Kitchen. It was all go. But when I got up to the restaurant and met Tony, it was calm, and Tony gave me his undivided attention. Tony didn't plan on becoming a chef. He came to Melbourne to study IT in the 90s. But working in the kitchens of his brother's restaurants, he was quickly hooked, and he's never looked back. He's been lucky enough to work for some big Melbourne names who have been mentors and an inspiration to him. He's now paying that forward, training up new chefs and sharing his love of the industry. Stuck up above the pass is an A4 sheet of paper that says, "Make it nice, be better." I think that says it all. Hi Tony, how are you? It's so busy in Federation Square. How's it going here at Taxi?
Yeah. We only opened up Saturday, Monday, Tuesday last week, but it was good that we did.
Yeah.
It was like last Monday, Tuesday was good. Yesterday was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there seems to be a lot of people in the city on the weekend and they don't leave, so they're still here on the Mondays.
Yeah, right, so. Yeah. So I think it's great, isn't it? Because people are obviously really embracing getting out and about again. But how has it been for you? Were you totally shut down over lockdown? Or?
Yeah, so basically lockdown 1, we were totally shut down. Didn't do anything. Fully shut down every sort of part of the building as much as we could. Stood everyone down. And then when we came back, we operated for that in between lockdown 1 and 2. When we got into lockdown 2, we're like, well, we can't just shut down because we just don't know what was going to happen. So we went, right, let's take Taxi Kitchen on tour. So we just started doing pop-ups. Yeah. And so we contacted friends of ours who've got pubs in suburbs or down the coast. So we did Mornington, Mordialloc, we did Albert Park, we did out in the eastern suburbs. So we basically just took the chefs from Taxi Kitchen, a few at the front of house, and did hot takeaway food pickup. And then also, while that was happening, I was badgering Shane Dillier, going, "Come on, get me on Providore." He's just like, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm going to take on some more restaurants in a minute. And then we finally got onto Providore in August.
Yeah.
But also, while all that was happening, we put Taxi Kitchen on the grocery shelves. So we took all of our famous signature dishes and basically prepared them on Monday. Supermarkets ordered them from us, like boutique supermarkets like Gumtree, Cicluna's, and we basically just put our Taxi stamp on it. And yeah, so we had staff prepping grocery stores, packing it on Wednesday, delivering it to all the grocery stores on Friday, and then they would sell out over the weekend, give us another order. And that was good because we got up to about 13 was the most we had. And we did get down to Sorrento, was the furthest one we went. I did try to get into Lawn for the summer, but I couldn't get it. So, I mean, we had that. So
it's amazing. That's a real pivot, isn't it?
Yes, it was, and it really kept us. I mean, it kept this level going. But obviously, it's a 3-level venue, So we've got the public bar on the ground floor, Taxi, the restaurant, and then we've got Transit rooftop.
And so you're doing food for all of those levels?
Yeah. So basically, when we operate, so the pub looks after itself, Taxi looks after this floor, and then Taxi looks after the rooftop food.
Yeah, right.
But when we did the groceries and Providore, it was just all from Taxi restaurant, Taxi Kitchen. Yeah.
I think it would be better to do that to keep you match fit in a certain sense anyway, because it'd be hard to come back after.
I tell you what, we did have a lot of chefs and front of house that were very flat-footed when we came back from lockdown 1. Yeah. Just because no one had experienced it, and it was like, well, everyone just have a bit of R&R, just relax. But obviously, no one could leave their homes.
Yeah.
But when everyone came back, it was like, whoa, what's the recipe again? Like everything that everything we took for granted, we had to relearn.
Yeah.
So when we did lockdown 2, doing those pop-ups, doing the groceries and doing Providore did help us when we reopened in November. So we had more synergy. The unit was still quite tightly knit together. And with the groceries, it was good because we got to use the front of house for all the packing and labelling, and then Providore was the same. And then, even some of the managers driving down the coast to deliver things. So, yeah.
Cool.
We just tried to do anything and everything. And then we basically got through, and then we got to a point in February that was like, okay, the groceries are starting to strain us because we didn't build it. We still had the core group of staff. So we dropped groceries because we had to concentrate on, in-house service. So we let go of that, and we've kept on with Providore all the way through because Providore's been great over the weekends for this restaurant. They've just got really good marketing, a really good reach.
Yeah.
So we've kept that going.
There was a really amazing sort of, what's the word? Not epiphany, but happening that, for him to make that happen with restaurants and to take, takeaway or delivery to a whole new level. It was amazing. It was great for us.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, I watched him do it in lockdown 1, and I could see what he's doing. So it's a clever idea. And then I was watching Scott Pickett, and he was like really ramping up, come pick up the meals and so forth. But it was like when we decided just to sit and just wait, and no one knew it was going to be this long. But then as soon as we came out of lockdown. Well, lockdown 2 was like on the edge. It was like, well, we have to just sort of jump onto it, and the platform was so well done, and also it's just grown so quickly. And he's seen the opportunity there, and he's definitely got the right people in and around it. So I was already using that home delivery service, HDS, which was fantastic because they come pick up products and take it. In a refrigerated van. So basically, when we got onto Providore, we're already using those guys.
Yeah.
And that's been a great logistics team. So.
But you must have to work out, because the dish is obviously going to be different when you're packing it up to just plating it and sending it out. Right.
I've seen some great photos. I've seen some great photos on Instagram saying, "Thanks, Taxi Kitchen," and you're like, "Oh, I wouldn't have plated it like that." But anyway.
You've got to give up your baby. Wow.
But and we tried to do that with all of the dishes. So we chose the dishes that would be the easiest to reheat or to plate up at home.
Yeah.
But also try and include those signature dishes like the candy pork and the Szechuan duck, so people can. Because that's what people are always asking for when they come here.
Yeah. So how long have you been at Taxi Kitchen?
I got here in 2004. So I came over when Michael Lambie started, because I was working with Michael at Circa.
Yeah.
So when he got this gig, he's like, come over. So I did. And it's been great. So working under him, I think it was for the first 6 years.
Yeah.
Then I had an opportunity to leave the venue, and I went and opened up the Barker's Wine Bar and Bistro.
That's right.
Yeah, so I did that for a year, and then came back because Michael decided to move on, and the owners at the time were like, well, it'd be perfect to bring me back in to keep the place going.
Yeah.
So, and then through that, we've changed it from Taxi Dining Room. After 10 years of fine dining, we went to Taxi Kitchen.
Yeah.
That was really just to, probably just strip it back a little bit. We got rid of the white tablecloths. We reduced the amount of wines on the list, made the food a little bit more open to a larger demographic. Yeah, because we found it was, after 10 years, it was definitely the destination. Everyone dined here once a year.
Yeah.
It was like, so we've done a bit of a flip on that, and that was really good. It was really well received, and we've travelled with that sort of since 2014.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so
how many does it seat here?
In the main dining room here, 120. But it does stretch out around to the river room, which is 50, and then you've got the terrace, which is 35.
That's massive.
Yeah. So when we don't have any functions or private events, we'll go out there on Friday, Saturday nights.
And on like Friday and Saturday nights, are you doing like that a couple of times over? Like
pre-COVID we were doing 240. Yeah. So and it was really mainly because we got the theatres, so people would come at 5:30, have a pre-show dinner. And then, so they're in and out by 6:30, 7. And then you've got all your diners coming in 7:30, 8 So it works well.
You obviously love it because you've been here a long time.
Yeah.
But that hustle, do you, in that height of service, do you feel stressed or is it exhilaration, or are you just totally just in the flow and you're so used to it now?
Yeah. Probably in the flow, but
Yeah.
you do get a buzz. I mean, like even Saturday night, with the team being stretched so far, the public bar's been getting really worked over on the weekend, so we've had our taxi chefs down there. So we ran the kitchen up here with less, and I mean we only did 150 with canapes out the back, and doing that was just everything sort of just worked in perfectly.
Yeah.
Systems were working, staff are all together, and we do a lot of planning, so it's like we never go into a service without a game plan that everyone's been verbalised to. So it's really good because the whole team knows what's going to happen unless a curveball comes.
And when you say the team, like how many in the kitchen have you got?
Yeah, at the moment we've so Jack, Rudy, Cisco, Sammy, Rowan, Lucy, so 7. But normally we'd have like 13.
You're right.
So that's to do the 240s, like to get back to pre-COVID. So,
yeah.
So the numbers are reduced because we are trying to control what we are doing and for the manpower that we have.
Yeah.
Yep. So
that's the big challenge at the moment, isn't it? Staffing.
Yeah, 100%. So sort of hoping that people will start coming back into the hospitality industry. Apprentices would be amazing to start seeing them come back through. Been speaking to William Anglis and been speaking to Holmes Glen, got good communication with those guys. They've got staff, that sort of got through the last 2 years doing the courses, but they've got no trade experience. So looking at those guys for next year to come through and do almost sort of like sort of traineeships. Yeah, so that'd be good. And that would sort of bring some young people in.
Yeah.
But I think everyone just wants to have the summer off. And we don't have the internationals to bolster up all the casuals.
Yeah. I don't know, everyone talks about the hot vac summer, but now I think with all this rain that's forecast, you might want to be inside working and earning a bit of money, maybe. Yeah, right.
It's definitely wet. It's just like, the rain has been an absolute bother.
Yeah.
Especially when we went through the stages of like, yes, you can open up now at 70%, but you can only have a certain density. So we travelled through that, but then that was a huge issue because it was like the majority of the density was outside. So it's like every time we got... I know. So it was like, okay, move inside. Now you're back outside. So,
Go Melbourne.
And then, exactly. And then 80% we've got more. And so we had more numbers, but when it rained, then we got more people who had to shelter. So it was just a logistic nightmare. And then it was such a blessing to finally get to, trade at your licensed venue. So it's like, right, we can make the public bar a walk-in venue again. We don't have to worry about bookings. We've kept the bookings on the rooftop because they work so well for us. And people love to know that when they arrive, they've got their table on the rooftop. And,
exactly, that's right.
So it's worked really well. So we actually kind of run the rooftop now like a restaurant, which is fantastic, which we didn't do pre-COVID. So there's some learnings there that we've like, wow, that's a better way to run the business.
Absolutely, yeah. So I was reading that it seems like your family was into hospitality. That's what brought you to Melbourne, was it? Because you had siblings, was it? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 4 boys.
Yeah.
I moved to Melbourne to study IT and go into computer programming.
Oh.
Yeah. And I suppose
well done.
So it was probably something that it was probably an excuse to get out of the country and into the city, really. But my 2 older brothers were both chefs in Melbourne when I got here, so I started working with them on the weekends. And then after not even the first year, first 6 months, my older brother said, "No, you might as well start an apprenticeship because you seem to be working more than you're going to uni." I was like, "Yeah, good point. Where should I go?" And my older brother said, "Go to Stokehouse." Yeah. So I applied there, and luckily enough, I got a job for the summer and on the pizza section downstairs in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
The heyday, wasn't it? With all those British chefs coming over, and they were all down there, weren't they? And,
exactly. So Lambie was upstairs with his, Brit pack.
Yeah.
And I started downstairs and did my first 12 months. And all I wanted to do was work upstairs. And then I finally got up there. And then, it was great. And
what do you think it is about cooking and hospitality that drew you in then and has kept you doing it?
I suppose it's the adrenaline of service and just also you get a real buzz out of giving someone an experience, or, you know, when people come back and say, oh, that was the best meal I've ever had, or when people used to come into the kitchen and go, who cooked that, or who did that? And you'd stand there so proud going, oh, that was me. And it's just like, people are like, oh, it's fantastic. And then then you'd have that element of, especially at Stokehouse, where you've got that sort of celebrity factor when people come in and say thank you very much, and you're like, oh my god, that was George Harrison from the Beatles, and or you know those. So so you're kind of almost on the touch of that sort of that realm, because you're looking after people. But I think it was just really, I think for me, the buzz of actually service and the creativity, and that was one thing at Stokehouse. Like, even as a second year apprentice upstairs, we ran larder, and it was funny because it's me, my best friend Damien Burke, and Sam Forte. Like, Sam works here now, so the three of us were all apprentices at the Stokehouse at the same time, and we used to be up late, like drawing, you know, different specials and coming up with different ideas for terrines and going into work, and the chef de party's like, all right, let's get it, we'll do it next week, and they'd help us create something.
Yeah.
And that sort of, I think, has always stayed with me, and that's one thing I try to instill in here. It's just like getting the kids to come up with ideas and then making it happen for them, because that was the best thing, to see a dish that we'd, and obviously it gets changed throughout, and the senior chefs are like, put a little twist on it, make it work, you know, because you might have an idea that's like, nah, it's not going to work, but they would make it and follow it through. And so when you saw something that you created, that you drew a picture of, you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. You get that real sense of ownership and like that really good creativity. And I think that was probably one thing I've always loved, you know. Yeah. Even now that I'm sort of in more operations and running the business as a whole, I still love getting in the kitchen and talking to Sam and talking about dishes or new things that have come through, or suppliers have got this, and you're like, okay, let's figure out. And you sit there and you have that little spark of creativity.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you just can't sort of describe it, where you actually just come up with something new, or put it onto the plate and go, what do you think of it? And then the customer tells you, oh, that was amazing. You know, it's like, that's something that you love doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something chefs get to do, because you are sort of, it's creative art, you know.
Well, that's exactly right, isn't it? And I think sometimes with some other projects or jobs that people do, it can be a long time to, you know, or if at all that you get any kind of feedback or, you know, satisfaction, and you've got kind of that instant, you can look out onto the floor and see if people are happy or not, or they come up to you and say. Yeah. And I was, when I was waiting outside there, outside the door, I saw your sign saying, be better. Is it make it nice? Is that what it says up there?
Yeah, make it nice, be better, yeah. So, yeah, I say that to the guys all the time, just like, you know, always try and better yourself. It's one thing I've always done, you know, and that sign's been up there for years. You know, I've probably reprinted it a few times. But even with the kids in the kitchen, because we spend so much time to each other, it's like, just always try and be better as a person. You know, it's like, always try and be a better husband or a better father. It's just like, you know, I try and be a better chef. I try and be a better boss. You know, always, everything you do. And it's like, every time I, you know, turn a potato, I always try and turn the next potato better. Yeah. Try and get it perfect, because you're always trying to just better yourself. And that's why I've always said to the guys in the kitchen, just, you know, make it nice and be better.
Well, it's amazing, because I think, you know, some of the stories we get from people who came up through the 90s, it sounds as though, you know, there were shouty kitchens and the brigades and all that sort of stuff, even, you know, in Australia. But it sounds like you had some people that really took you seriously and were quite good mentors to you, and that you're paying it forward. Yeah, I
saw my fair share of rants, and like, you know, it's like, it's hilarious when, and you understand why, because they're so passionate about it, and they just can't hang on to that sort of, that bubble of anger, and it's passion really, and they just explode. And I've seen some absolute, like, you know, and I've been on the end of them, and I've seen them happen to people and close friends in the kitchen, and I've always sworn that I'd never be like that, because like, I grew up in a kitchen where you learned how to be good out of fear, because you didn't want to make a mistake, because you didn't want to be on the end of one of those verbal sprays. But I try and, I know it takes longer, but I try and actually create an atmosphere where a happy chef's a good chef. And, you know, if you've got a place where everyone can actually feel happy to make a mistake and learn from it and be better, then I found that people have stayed longer.
Yeah.
Like, I've got kids in there that have been here for 7 years, that have come through, done their apprenticeship, they're now going into chef de parties. You know, Sam, head chef, he's been here for 7 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's just, and the guys love working here, because it's just like, they've got a place where they can be creative, they know they're not going to get shouted at. But, you know, obviously we've got consistent. We've got to make sure everything stays consistent.
Yeah.
But happy chef's a good chef. That's for sure. Yeah.
And tell me, how did you get into like the Southeast Asian, Chinese, Japanese kind of what? Because
travel.
Yeah, right.
Like coming down from the country, our Chinese shop was just like the Friar Street Chinese shop that's just classic to every country town. You go in and you get your sweet and sour pork and your fried chicken and nothing really special. But then every time we come down to the city, I'd go to Chinatown with my father and we'd have banquets and eat quails and all these different things like Cantonese style. But then I worked there at Stokehouse and it was like all this British French cuisine. I was like, oh, this is really intricate and worked sauces and very even in the larder where you're building terrines and it's all like very I suppose measured and everything sort of has building blocks. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then when I travelled through Thailand, as soon as I finished at Stokehouse, I was like, just got blown away with how the people were eating over there and how light and fresh and everything was just, the flavours were just so huge. And you're like, wow, this is full on. And I just fell in love with it. So when I came back to Melbourne, it was like I needed to find a chef, and I found Rob Cunningham, who was like right into Asian cuisine, and we worked together for nearly 2 years, just in a couple of different venues, and then into Ezard's, and that's because I was just chasing that, that sort of that cuisine or a chef to sort of open me up to that. And I think through Rob and Teague is really where I sort of found the love of bringing that Asian cuisine into what I'd already my building blocks, of that basic French methods. So, and so less butter and cream and more vibrant but more fiery and the really big flavours in that Southeast Asian. But if you can control it and balance it, it's really, really good.
And I guess that's what happens too if you've become really good at something and you really love it, then you're probably open to how you can draw in other elements into that, and so then it's just you're building up your repertoire all the time and being inspired all the time.
Oh, exactly. I think one of the biggest compliments I had was from Rita Ehrlich, who was just saying, she goes, you just got a knack of taking that Asian cuisine and making it palatable for Westerners. She goes, it's like that, it's like global flavours with local produce, and it's just like, oh, thank you. It's like, and which is good because it's like, a lot of people can go, oh, I can't eat Thai food, it's too spicy. But you can if it's, balanced right, and that's just the thing is, it's like hot, sour, salty, sweet. If you get those all balanced together, most people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, even now I've got sort of like my candy pork that I have on here. It's, you start off with you brine the pork and then you confit the pork. So very French, but then you finish it, during service, flash fried, star anise, palm sugar caramel, and then a pickled papaya salad. So it ends up like a very Thai dish, even though the method starts off primarily as a French cuisine.
Yeah, right.
So
love it.
Yeah, I know. So you're like, oh yeah, but yeah, and always exploring those flavours. And I think Asian cuisine suits Melbourne quite a lot. I think people like eating lighter.
Yeah, that's right. So absolutely.
When we do have hot weather.
One day. It was the 7th of December and it's like 14 degrees. Amazing.
And raining.
Yeah. There's a whole wonderland out there. It's amazing. And so just to finish, you've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but if a young person was thinking of becoming a chef, what would your advice be?
Find a kitchen that you love. Obviously you do interviews and you do trials. The trial is really for you to see if you like the kitchen. If you don't like the kitchen, go find a new kitchen. If you find a kitchen that you love, you'll learn so much more. It's like, find a mentor, find someone that you want to learn from. Because I think if you find a kitchen that you can go into and feed off the knowledge of someone, you'll fly through your apprenticeship and you will not find it hard or difficult because you'll be constantly fed knowledge. You'll be always feel the gratitude of a kitchen, and you'll also have the passion of every time you serve a dish, even though it's for a chef for his own restaurant. You'll always have that pride of going, you look out at the customers and they're like eating something that you've created, And I think that's what you just find that kitchen, And if you don't find it the first time, go and find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because I found it straight away, and I did my whole apprenticeship at Stokehouse. I mean, I started downstairs and went upstairs, and then I did a couple of different kitchens looking for the Asian-inspired chefs, and then went back to Circa. And I mean, I ended up working with Lambie for 12 years, but I've learned so much of him, and it was cuisine, but, also how he ran his business, so I learned so much from him. So I think, find the kitchen that suits you. I think that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And find someone that you're going to learn from. But other than that, I don't know what else to say.
No, I think that's perfect. That's great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for your time.
That's all right, Joe.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Tony Twitchett at Taxi Kitchen. If you want to experience all the greatness for yourself, which of course you do, you can follow at transport_hotel on Instagram and see what's happening at Taxi Kitchen and on the rooftop. As for me, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. And if you want to read the chat, you can head to www.conversationwithachef.com. I would really like it if you told a friend about my chats. And of course, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or click follow on Spotify so I know you're there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. See you next time.